Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into some K-pop. We've got a lot to unpack today, from fan drama to some pretty big image changes.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how fans respond to what's going on in the industry. And the stuff we're talking about today really shows how complex that relationship is.
For sure. First up, remember a while back when Big Music said they were going to be more, in tune with what fans are saying and thinking?
Right.
Well, RMYs are calling them out again. They shared this article, and
Uh-huh.
it's basically just praising BTS, which, okay, nothing new there.
As the writer,
Yeah.
it's definitely a case of, maybe not thinking things through. This is not just some random journalist. This is someone who has a history of, well, not exactly being nice, let's say, when it comes to BTS
Because,
coverage.
yeah, not exactly glowing reviews from this one.
Yeah. And the thing is, armies had actually told BIJ about this journalist before. Like, they were specifically flagged.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
It's like they completely ignored what the fans were saying. It makes you think, like, after all the times fandoms have figured things out before anyone else, you'd think agencies would be, like, extra careful, right?
It shows there's a real disconnect, between how agencies are used to doing things and what fans expect these days. Agencies are used to being in control of everything, the image, the message, all of it.
Right.
But fandoms are gaining more and more influence, and they want transparency, and they want agencies to be accountable.
And they're definitely not afraid to call out anyone who's not being genuine, which is kind of what's happening with by GH8.
Hmm.
But okay, let's move on from agencies messing up
Hmm.
to something a little more fun. So,
Oh, here.
did you see she dyed it? Somi, the
Yeah.
queen of blonde hair.
I know, right?
This is not just a new hairstyle. This is a whole statement.
Yeah, in K-pop, even a little change like that, it's like analyzed by everyone and turned into a million memes.
Oh, I'm sure the memes are incredible.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, what do you think this means for Somi as an artist? Is she trying to change her image? Is this a new era? Like, it feels very new year, new me.
It really shows how important image is in K-pop, like more than a lot of other genres. Everything is planned out so carefully, from the music to the clothes to, yeah, even the hair. These changes are definitely calculated. They're supposed to send a specific message.
Totally. And fans are really good at figuring out what that message is.
Oh, yeah. They pick up on everything.
Speaking of image and, sending a message, New Jeans Minji,
Yeah.
her friends are all over social media, and for good reason.
Yeah.
They're all stunning, like
Yeah.
unrealistically good looking.
Yeah.
It's no wonder fans are joking that it's like a K-drama come to life.
It's so interesting how that obsession with like perfect visuals, it goes way beyond the idols themselves. Like now fans are looking at their friends and family too. It's like they want proof that this perfect K-pop world with flawless skin and hair is real life.
That's a good point. I never
Yeah.
thought about it like that. But it's true. It's like they want the idols and everyone around them to be this like perfect ideal.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's got to be a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, yeah. But it shows how much influence K-pop has. Fans aren't just listening to the music. They want to be a part of that world, that whole aesthetic.
For sure. Okay, before we get too deep into like the whole visuals thing,
Hmm?
let's talk about something a little more serious. The Giselle situation. Remember a while back when there was all that controversy about her mouthing a racial slur?
Right, right.
Well, it's back in the news.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's this video going around of fans talking about it, and it's brought up a lot of questions about, like, when someone messes up, are they accountable? Can we forgive them? Can we separate the art from the person?
It's complicated, and it's something that K-pop really can't ignore anymore now that it's global. This video that's going around features Black fans, and they're talking about how hurt they were and how they don't want to support Giselle anymore. It's caused a lot of discussion online about, what fans should and shouldn't do. Some people are saying that it's totally fair for fans to stop supporting an artist, as a form of protest. But then there are others saying, look, we all make mistakes, and Giselle apologized, so shouldn't that be enough?
I could see both sides. It's definitely a tricky situation, and it doesn't help that K-pop idols are often presented as like these perfect role models.
Right.
So when something like this comes out, it feels like a really big deal for a lot of fans.
Right. There's definitely a clash between how idols are marketed and, the reality of the situation. And this isn't limited to K-pop. We see it all the time with celebrities and influencers. Everyone's trying to figure out what to do when someone they admire messes up.
It's a tough one for sure, especially because of social media. Like once something's online, it's there forever, right? So can you ever really come back from a mistake, especially a very public one?
That's the question, isn't it? And with K-pop and how global the fandom is, it just adds another layer. We have to think about how people from different cultures and backgrounds are going to view this.
It's not just about, like, one country's standards anymore. You know what's interesting to me is how this idea of holding idols accountable ties back into what we were talking about with Somi's hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even though it's a positive change, fans are still analyzing every little thing she does, trying to figure out what it means.
Right. Because fans want to be a part of it. It's not just about passively watching. They want to understand the artist's thought process.
It's like they're putting together a puzzle,
Mhm.
and every single piece matters.
And I think that's part of what makes K-pop so unique.
It's that level of dedication and passion, right?
Exactly. It's
Yep.
what makes it so exciting. But it can also become a lot of pressure, both for the idols and the fans.
It's a difficult balance to find. How do you keep that passion and excitement without it becoming unhealthy?
It's tough. There's no easy answer. But I think it's important to be able to have these conversations, to try to understand where other people are coming from, even if you don't agree with them.
That's a really good point.
We have to remember that behind all the usernames and comments online, there are real people.
Definitely. Okay, before we move on, I wanted to circle back to something else you said earlier about how fans sometimes see their idols as, like, living in this perfect fantasy world,
Right.
like with New Jeans' Minji and her friends. It's like they expect it to be this K-drama in real life.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? K-pop really does a good job of making you want to escape into this perfect world.
Totally. And for some fans, they want that perfection to extend to every part of an idol's life. Their music, how they look, who they're friends with. It goes back to that question you asked, can you really separate the art from the person who created it?
It's tough, right?
It really is. On one hand, you have the music, the performances, all of that, and it can be, like, really amazing. But then you also have the actual people, and they're going to mess up sometimes.
And in K-pop, it gets even more confusing because the industry is so good at making these perfect versions of people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we love the fantasy, we want that escape, but we also have to remember that these are real people, and they're complicated, just like us.
And that's what we need to talk about. Not trying to pretend those complicated parts don't exist, but figuring out how to make space for both, the mistakes and the art, the person and the image.
Finding that balance, it's tough.
It is. But it's important. And the more influential K-pop becomes, the more important it's going to be.
Because these issues aren't going away.
Yeah.
What fans expect, how accountable idols should be, all of it.
It's all changing really fast.
Okay, well, we talked about a ton today. From agencies being weird to new hairstyles to some really big questions about what it even means to be a fan these days.
You pick some good ones.
Oh, thanks.
I think it shows how much K-pop has changed. It's not just about the music anymore, it's a whole culture, and it makes people think about some really important stuff.
100%. So to everyone listening, as you're thinking about all of this, here's something else to consider. With social media and how passionate fans are, is it possible to be a fan in a healthy way? I mean, can we criticize and disagree without being awful to each other? Can we love the music but also make sure idols take responsibility for their actions? I don't know the answer, but I think it's something we need to talk about. And then we'll let you go figure it out. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with more K-pop, more news, and more deep dives into everything happening in the industry.